work session started. And as I understand, because it's a work session, there's no roll call, but Ruben asked that we. Sorry, and we'll get this started. And Ruben asked that we all just identify ourselves. So we'll just start with trustee.
Trustee Tarno?
Trustee Heck.
Trustee Stelter.
And Mayor Pro Tem.
And Mayor.
Mayor Smith.
Trustee Check.
Trustee Hunter?
Town Administrator and Treasurer Stephen Wynn. Police Chief Matt.
Public Works Director Nikki Holmes.
Thank you, everybody. So I don't know. You wanted to start with you, Steph?
Yeah, as soon as Ruben catches up, let's begin. Share.
Oh, okay.
No, I haven't. In case I can run through that. Oh, nice. Sure.
Make it
24/36 at least.
a banner.
Cataracts, we had corrected my left eye. In my right eye, I can't wear glasses because it absorbs me, it makes me sick. So I'm struggling.
Oh, man.
It is.
Okay. So I've gone over with some of you kind of how to read this document. It's really 3-in-1. And so the way that they're stapled together is kind of how they are on my screens in my office. And it's in our actual budget that you'll see on Tuesday, there's going to be more description, right? So like we did last year, where there was a description of what each fund meant, there's also going to be an expanded section this year on capital improvements. So all of those capital improvements or those capital outlays that you see for each department are now tied to a 5-year capital improvement plan. And for 26, you'll see each one of those planned projects will have their own description, which also has broken down which funds are paying for it. But it's pretty descriptive. I think last year I even made an organizational chart for how our funds fit into what makes up our budget, so that you could see general fund is made up of these individual major funds, these non-major funds, and so on. Okay. What I want to start with is the first page on I think there's 14 pages stapled together. Those are our actual budget schedules so if you want to look at this, that is our budget in brief. So this is by each individual department and revenues. The first page is the general fund revenues. You'll see that in 26, we're looking at having more revenue from taxes than what we've ever had before. And part of that reason is because marijuana occupational tax in 2026 no longer goes to the sales tax CIP or the street CIP, that goes into the general fund. So it is revenue that we're depending on to balance our budget. That's the big difference. It ended in 25. If you go down to the second page, you can see where our fund balance would. So I had to rack my brain on how we can. You got the big one. So I had to rack my brain on how we can show what was proposed to be used or spent out of that fund balance, in addition to to cover all of our expenses. And so that's at the bottom. That's where you see that. That's where all that math is done. You'll see total general fund revenues in 2026 are anticipated to be $1,662,750. Our total general fund expenditures, that's personnel and operating, is expected to be $1,764,575, which will result in a use of fund balance of $101,825. We're planning to start 26 with an unrestricted fund balance. So unrestricted and unassigned means that it's not already for something. It's not been encumbered. It's not restricted to sidewalks. It is there for any general government use. This is the one that we have to be careful of if it gets too high, because then we have Tabor things, we have to do refund checks, right? So our unrestricted fund balance beginning is $813,338. And we're anticipating at the end of the year that it'll go down, we'll spend that down 711,000 to 711,513. So there's still a several $100,000 fund balance in just general fund, but for personnel and operating. Again, this isn't capital out. The next page is what the budget looks like on the departmental level. So this is my department. This is the admin department. It's also made of clerk's office, finance office, all in one. Personnel services still makes up lion's share of, personnel services makes up lion's share of any budget. Doesn't matter where we're at. It's always, you've got to pay. But what's important to note is just before that blue header that says capital outlay and transfers, there's a general fund total. That's the total that's coming out of the general fund that is reflected in that balance on that second page down at the bottom. It's what makes up that expenditures.
Just a quick question.
Yeah,
It doesn't apply to this year. It's town administrator salary back in fiscal year 23. Was that more expensive because we were doing contract, or was it not split over all the funds?
so that's a good question. Both. So it was both. My salary when I came in July was split up between 4 different funds. General fund, water, sewer, trash. That is Leslie's salary from when she was the interim, and all of her contract got booked into that line item. It didn't get split up. And so not only were we paying for Leslie, but we were also paying for me. So it really inflated. That one resulted, I think we had to do a budget amendment to cover it. No, we were okay because we still had fund balance, but it was way overexpended. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And you'll see so what you don't see is, I really got you guys involved in the sausage making this year for capital improvement plan. But what you don't see is like the fixed allocations. So yes, that town administrator contract labor that is my share of the general fund, my salary share of the general fund. Everything else is broken up in water, sewer, trash. But we have fixed allocations for literally every employee that works in the admin department. So for example, Ruben 25% of his salary and benefits comes out of the general fund, and then the 75% is also broken up between water, sewer, trash. You're not going to see that reflected in this budget because it just adds to confusion and it doesn't really serve a purpose. What we're really looking at is that bigger number, and knowing that we have a positional cap, that we have a cap on salaries, and where is Sam?
She's gonna tell you.
Okay, I need her to attend because I want to show you the merit-based increases that we've come up with, or the merit-based process that we've come up with. Not everyone is going to get 3%. Not everybody's going to get a 2%. There might even be some employees that don't even get that 1% merit, but it's on a stair step based on how their reviews come in scored. Most likely, and how that goes along is PD is the first one to do their evaluations and do merit-based increases. We won't anticipate seeing that till either the end of the first quarter or the very beginning of the second quarter before those salaries are in place based on those merits. So I was able to back down personnel services based on that information. Nikki won't get hers done for public works until the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter. So because they get reviewed, her employees get reviewed June, July. And that helps us with planning for next year. My departments or my department heads, they've been working towards an individual development plan, but our next review again is in the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, just kind of like public. So we won't see those things happening until later in the year. The merit-based increases.
Yes.
Can you print off some of those So we can show them what it looks like. That's what I needed you for, so that was the big one, so I could show them that it's not just that everybody's gonna get it willy-nilly, there's a real process. And it's a good, she made something that I think we're all kind of impressed with, so we wanted to present that to show you that we heard what you said, and we knew what you were worried that somebody's just gonna give a 3% increase because they don't want to deal with it. The way that we've got our personnel and human resources set up now, I think it's going pretty smooth.
It is.
Onboarding has been excellent, so it's been going pretty well. Okay. And we'll go back to this merit stuff when she has to. Capital outlays,
Are you still under admin?
I still am.
Okay, thanks.
So, because I didn't give everybody the instructions on how to read this. So capital outlays, you'll see that number down there is 93,000. It's really 90,000 in, I think it's 90,000
90,000.
in yours.
Yeah.
I've already made a mistake. I forgot I have to buy furniture for a new employee. So I've already put it in the spreadsheet. So you're gonna see something updated. This is the only one I've changed. So let's go to law enforcement. So if you go to 1, 2, 3.
Can I ask, are you gonna come back to general fund or admin?
I will.
Okay.
So, because I want to show you how to read this.
Okay.
So law enforcement, when we're looking at this bottom number, the capital outlays. You're gonna go to that second sheet that you have. That starts CIP revenue at the top. It'll be the second packet. Under CIP expenditures, you'll see that law enforcement matches 85,600 to that capital outlay total in the actual department budget. Now you'll take that third, that's like, what is it? Hot dogs? So portrait, you'll take that third packet. And when you go to the third packet, it is our 5-year capital improvement plan. So if you want to know what makes up everything in the police department, if you go to there, you can see, oh gosh.
You look for numbers?
I am, yeah, give me a second. So you can see that PD down at the total makes up 85.6. Now you're gonna go, Stefan, when I add up all of the CIP stuff in that list, it adds up to 70,600. You're absolutely right. What you don't realize is that under the town hall roof repair, that reference number 1, 65,000 isn't coming out of my department entirely. It's broken up between my department and Matt's department. It's just, I have to be able to show a home department on the capital improvement list, but know that 85.6 is reflected in his total down below. If you wanted to know the math, it's because there's an additional 15,000 that his department is kicking in towards the roof repair. Does that make sense? Okay. Still not fixing the sink. So that's kind of how this works. Anything in the capital outlay is going to track between all of those pieces. And if you really want to look at it in a different way, think of it like a pyramid scheme, right? That 18-page document, the big packet, is the big overview. Then when you get into the cover sheet for the CIP, you're going down a step. And then when you really want to get on the nitty-gritty to see what makes up each individual expenditure, you go to the portrait, and it shows you that those capital outlays that are within, that make up that amount. So we're starting at the higher over level, and you can drill down into something a little more detailed. For people that are trying, that just general public that really want to understand what we're doing, there's what I include in my transmittal letter and within every budget is how to read this document. And there'll be a cover sheet I've been working on a cover sheet, trying to explain exactly what I've drawn for you here, for the general public to read it. So they can see this, they can see that within this capital improvement plan, that it is drilled down over 5 years, because somebody's gonna go, holy smokes, you're spending $18 million? No, that's over 5 years, and that's if certain things happen, right? For example, the bridge repair. If we get the grant, then yes, we're gonna spend $2 million on the bridge. 500,000 comes out of our CIP, you know, that's kind of where, that's how this is running. Okay. Sam, do you wanna, and then we'll go back, I know, Mayor, you had
I
a
just asked you
question
a question.
on the admins, but can we go over the merit-based thing first that she just handed out? So,
This came actually directly from a work session, you know, we're all redoing our policies and processes, so did you explain to them that we all do IDPs? Okay, so each department does it during a different quarter.
well, what I do, every employee does.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we do that with our down staff. Stefan does it for department heads. And this is to be completed at the same time as the IDP. Tried to make it as uncomplicated as possible so you can make a good, fair decision. I think it's a really good scoring system. It's pretty clear cut. And if you look on the back page, after you go through all of the stuff, they also have, there's also a recommended merit action guide. And it's not like, oh, give a full one or give it this, that, or the other thing. 45 to 50 total points, strong merit increase recommended, 40 to 44, moderate, 35 to 39, consider a small increase, and below 35 total points, merit increase not recommended. So that's how we're gonna go with that. I think it'll probably help department heads. I know it's gonna help me with my department with deciding how to, you know, do things and not just doing it on how you're feeling about somebody at any given time. You liked them a lot last month, this month, maybe not as much, you know, but I think it's gonna be a lot fairer to the employees. I also plan on getting this out to employees as well, because I think it's only fair that they know what they're going to be scored on during their yearly thing. I know when I was making, I was like, I should probably work on that one a little bit. I'm maybe not the best at that. So, but yeah, and so we just folded this straight into our IDP process. And it actually kind of went with our onboarding process too, just because, you know, we decided when they were gonna get, even though they don't get merit increases in their first year, they will get an IDP as soon as they're out of their probationary period. So they have things to work towards. So their first real big evaluation, you know, they're not just starting from scratch.
I'm glad she brought that up. So employees that have recently started, they're ineligible for 2026 for a merit-based increase. They would be eligible in 27. So, you know, that's really important to know. Matt's got 2 guys getting ready to start. Well, maybe eventually or something. So, you know, those are things to consider as well. That's why I was able to back personnel services down significantly, because not everybody's going to get a merit-based increase. And so if you go back to that, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you very much. Unless you guys have questions.
Just on what you just said, is that kind of common in this type of community that it won't be until after a year that somebody might get a merit?
She's been doing a bunch
Yeah,
of.
like I said, this thing came up with a lot of, so we've always had a probationary period for as long as I've been associated with the town. But now we're actually, I think, using it in a good way. It's kind of less about, oh, you know, after, if you can't convince me to like you in 180 days, you're out of here, but more along the lines of creating a good relationship with their supervisor, making sure they understand what expectations are. But along with that, with a conditional offer of employment, what they are eligible for is a salary increase after 90 days. So it's not that it's just like, no, you're stuck with this forever, but when it comes down to actual merit increases, we're going to be basing exemplary, you know, a good merit increase based off of exemplary work performance over a year. Which is why we wanted to make sure to get the IDP in there right after that probationary period is done, so they have goals to work towards and can hit the ground running. So we're trying to raise the level of what we're sending them out into the, you know, out of that probationary period into the rest of their time here with the town. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I was just thinking, yeah, you know, we want people to stick around if they're doing a good job, and it's not for over a year that they see any feedback on that.
Yeah.
Or financial.
Yeah. So it's just the merit increase. The merit increase is a long-term employee thing, but that doesn't mean that hey, we're not only gonna think we're gonna keep you, but bump you up a little because you're upset. So.
And one of the people that was recently bumped up, it's still within budget with Ruben. Finally got him up to what we consider a deputy pay. It's no different than, he's nowhere near what sergeant makes, but as a deputy, it's a higher because there's more supervisory, things around, and then your supervisor also has a higher salary. So, we're finally getting those figured out. What you'll see also is you're probably wondering why there's this proposed budget and then adopted budget. That proposed budget is what you got in October. And so if you go down to the very bottom of the second page of the larger packet, you can see that there was, it was originally planned to have $1,807,300 in expenditures, but we backed that down by $42,725 to $1,764,575. So that's the difference between what was presented in the general fund to now. That was actually feedback that I received from GFOA. We should be showing that, what you present at the budget isn't just it, that there was a beginning and an end. So if there were any differences, we should be showing those. And that's why that was done. And if we really wanted to drill down to see what was changed, we can go into each individual department because each individual department has a proposed and an adopted budget section. That makes sense. And Mayor, you had a question on,
Oh, I was just
Administration.
curious on adding. Oh, the grant projects. So I was just wondering about the 8,500. On the very bottom of the page, third line on the bottom.
8,500. Okay, so that's actually made up of a couple of projects. So we still have a project with our comprehensive plan rewrite, or not comprehensive plan, code rewrite, that Paige and I have been really working on trying to negotiate something to finish. I don't know where we're gonna be, because I haven't read the emails. I probably should, but there's also another grant that we have to finish for a housing needs assessment, housing action plan, and that's gonna come out of that grant projects line item. We received $7,500 for it, that we're gonna have to pay for. So
How much was it?
$7,500. But I talked a little bit with a consultant about how much it would cost to get us into state compliance. Like, that's what the entire point is. We've already done a housing needs assessment, we've already done a housing action plan, but there was a Senate bill that came in right after we had finished it. And this grant is meant to cover what was expressly desired by this new law. And it's not gonna be anywhere near $8,000 to fix, so.
Oh, good.
So that's it's in there. That's what that's.
Thank you.
Okay. What I'd like to go over is water utilities. So the one difference that you won't be using all three sheets for is like capital outlays in water utility. What you'll use, I'm getting text messages from the Creative Coalition. I think we're all ready to go. They've got to put some tonight and tomorrow, so my mind's everywhere. And I finally got home at 12:30. I think I finally fell asleep at 1:45, 2 o'clock this morning. Then I got yelled at this morning because I forgot I drank the last of the milk and needed it. So I woke up. How could I? Because I wanted blueberries.
Keep it real.
So what you'll see is instead of using that second packet or the one with CIP expenditures and revenues, you're going to use the bottom of the enterprise funds. So that bottom capital outlay.
Wait, where are you?
I don't know what page.
The
that is.
second page of one?
Yes,
Okay, good, thank you.
so I'm on that bottom page.
Okay.
you'll see that there's, you know, the 60, 50, 69, all the way to 99. That's our capital outlay.
Wait,
Now-
what? Next, slow down, next page. 60, 50.
60, 60, 50, 69 through 60, 50, 90.
Okay,
So
so
that-
that is underwater, it's on that, okay.
It's not underwater, we're.
I know. It's the
So-
line items on the bottom of the page.
Yes.
At the bottom.
Yes.
I thought we were talking dollars.
No, no, no. So what you're gonna use, is you'll use this, and then you'll go to the portrait to see our capital improvement plan. And these funds are what funds that. It's not shown on, the other capital improvement plan, because that's specific to our major and non-major funds in the general fund. We can't pull these.
You want us to look at this.
Yes.
This one under Public Works Water.
Correct.
Okay.
And so, which one is it? I believe those do complete. Those two do. If they don't, it's because, again, like the roof repair, I might have taken some from water, some from sewer and trash to cover. And that's kind of where that building improvements line item is shown on the actual budget in the water. At the end of the year, the big number that you're looking at is down at the bottom. Even though we're spending down fund balance. And we're spending down fund balance on real things, right? Things that become capital assets or fixed assets. So our values are actually going up, our assets are going up. That's a good thing. We should be spending down to be adding into our assets. Especially for these utility funds, these enterprise funds. So even though we're gonna start the year with an anticipated just shy of $1.6 million, we are gonna spend down out of that fund balance about $210,000, but still end the year with $1,384,644. So we've still got a healthy fund balance carrying us forward.
Could you just describe and under line item 60, 50, 70, capital outlay, $300,000? So is that encompasses the vehicles under Public Works Water?
No, that's machinery and equipment.
So you have machinery, okay, let's look at that. So that's 150,000, so that would be how many vehicles? 2 this year? 1, 2, 3.
It
Right?
wouldn't all come out of water, wastewater. Machinery and equipment, we should still use a fourth thing for the water.
Right, so
So is the machinery and equipment on this list, or is it more things that you are pretty standard things that you get for machinery and equipment?
So Nikki also, it's in there that isn't shown on like these projects. She's gotta buy pieces and parts.
Yeah.
And so
that's
some
okay.
of these inventory that she needs
Yeah.
are so expensive, just a single
Like a high max.
items.
The little ones are $1,000.
So she's trying to get shelf ready parts in case we do have, a freeze thaw event where we have
And that,
what we don't wanna talk about. will happen,
Don't jinx it.
And we have to do a repair.
and that's what's in the 150,000 will be miscellaneous parts and things that you need to get
Correct.
that just come under the purchasing policy. Okay, yep.
Oh, so you're not seeing, okay.
Kind of shots.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so if I share this one, so what you guys see is just a number. But if you look, I have calculations up here, right? So, let me see if I can. Right, okay, so on the second page of that portrait document, you just see like a total, and it might not comport with all of the individually listed projects. But like I said, she's got inventory she needs to buy. And if you can barely see it, you can see I've got not cells, but numbers in there, like 4,000. That's her share of fixing my roof, right? Above, in town hall, there's 25,000, that's a share for a vehicle. 36,000, I can't remember what that one was for, but it's a share of something else. And then 344,000, that's between a bunch of capital outlays that she has on there, on her actual budget. Specific to like water repairs, buying those supplies, getting things shelf ready. So it's all in there.
So what we can't see is above the table we do have. Like on the
Right.
Screen there.
That's because I had to show a home department in the capital plan to show who was asking for it. But in like the town hall and then also your shop. So she's also getting ready to do, what is it? One of those is for, one of those numbers is made up of fixing the shop to bring it into compliance with electric code. It is, that's shown in there, but it's shown under streets as the home department, but it's broken up between streets, parks, water, sewer, trash.
Yeah, number 22.
Correct.
Shall go.
And it's not an even split. Those numbers are right in there. So that, if we started getting on that granular level, it's gonna look like the previous budget for 22. We don't wanna do that. So, what we're doing is we're still drilling down to show where everything's coming from. That's the point of a capital improvement plan, right, over multiple years. So I know somebody might look at, oh my gosh, where's the big one? Sidewalk improvements, $325,000. Holy smokes, how are we gonna pay for all of that? Well, that's over 5 years, right? Now, we are looking at doing a large capital outlay the first year. Part of that is, it's. I think that there's a final amount on the grass contract that we have doing our ADA transition plan. That'll come out next year. Part of that is included in that 85,000. But the majority of it is for doing the actual, whatever comes out of that plan that's prioritized. They'll start tackling, and using that fund to pay for it.
Plus, we already have you, are taking, for the sidewalks, are you taking into account the money that we've accumulated over the last 3 years, which is close to 90,000?
I am.
Yeah.
So if you go back to your second packet, you'll see that CIP, there's a spent down. It's like 53, even though it shows 85. That's because we're still getting revenue in, right? So we're still getting revenue in next year, and we're gonna pull 53,000 and some change, I think it's 50 some, out of that fund balance. Plus the revenue. So it's not just fund balance in that second packet, it's revenue and fund balance.
Because people want to see that money start to get used.
That's the point, right? We've accumulated over $120,000. It's just sitting there. And it's not doing anybody any good. We need to start spending this stuff.
Yeah.
Because we start running into issues. We start running into Tabor issues. We could start, we'll have people coming to meetings again saying, you're not doing anything, you're not repairing roads, you're not doing this. The plan is to meet our match for the Safe Routes for All grant out of the street CIP. Because it is prioritizing street projects. And you'll see that located in number 20 on that list. Safe Streets for All, it's the total amount is 367,468. We got a grant for 294 and some change. The rest of that's coming out of street CIP. You'll also see paving. I think they included paving, didn't they? Street resurfacing. You'll go, holy smokes, $765,000. How are we gonna pay for that? Well, street resurfacing, if you look, it's broken up over 5 years, right? Now, I know that first amount is like 35,000. That's typically the cost that we get from the county. So that's kind of what they come in for. So that's what that's budgeted for next year. And then once we have that priority list done, we can really start hammering it in the future.
That report, from that report, so we have the ADA report, we have the Safe Streets for All report, which is gonna give us some directional variety.
Right, and so when you see so now we're gonna jump ahead another year. When you see that fiscal year 27 budget, it's gonna have appendices that list all of these individual projects that we're gonna do for like sidewalk repairs, street repairs, and this list will grow based on what we get out of those. That makes sense.
This, the 5-year plan, have you looked at like, what are the projected expenses for the years to come and how is that affecting our fund balance?
No, I haven't done that for 26, because this,
Well, You did it for 26.
26, I mean, for,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
but the reason for that is the CIP is meant to be a living document, right? Because we might say, okay, we got a grant all of a sudden that can, now we can do $2 million in paving, well, that might change some things. So I haven't done that yet. What this is meant to give us is a roadmap so that in future years, it's really easy to say where we're gonna target some spending. So. Some people do it out to 10 years. We can't do that. Like, we're not Longmont where we've got, a $750 million budget. So, we've got to stay a little bit small. I guess we could do 10 years, but
It would be meaningless. It would be revised so many
we'd
times,
change it a lot.
not worth the effort.
I think, I mean, even though I see it, it's living and it's changeable. I mean, just sort of as a reality check. What do we expect? How do we expect the fund to balance to grow with revenues? And what are we saying we might need to cover some of these costs? And I mean, even just a ballpark.
Yeah, and I could do a whole bunch of estimating. The problem is I just got off a CML policy committee meeting today. There's new legislation with unfunded mandates that are coming down that we've already voted against. It changes, that political landscape changes sometimes a couple times a year. And like one of the big gripes that we were hearing is they're trying to change on the state side, they're trying to change ad valorem taxes again for property taxing. So we already see less property tax due to a bill that went into effect middle of last year, and it's going to affect us again going into 26. And they're talking about something else, a new sort of property tax credit that could still affect our millage rates and how we get revenue. So if we do that, I feel like I would be doing a lot of, changes just as these things come up. That's the scary part.
What you're describing, I don't know what ad valorem means, but is that they're proposing more discounts for certain people?
They are.
On their property taxes?
Correct.
Okay, I got that.
Yeah, so ad valorem are, think of them as a tax on using something, right? So you get taxed on property taxes, you get a tax on your car, right? I think we even have wheel taxes in Delta County. We have that $1.50, $2.50 tax that comes in every time you register your plates. Those are ad valorem taxes.
Okay, thank you.
Goes back to, I think that's broken stuff. It's Latin for sure. Okay. I've spewed a lot. Do you guys have any questions on how this is working? And I'm good, full transparency. There are vehicles scheduled for 26 to be purchased in both police and public works. And I wanted you to hear from department heads as to why we need them. And Nikki, can you tell a little bit more about why you're looking at like mid-sized trucks, quarter tons and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff?
So I kind of went through my fleet with my guys a little bit. To start off, we only have 2 vehicles that are newer than 10 years old. So 2 of the ones that we have, 2 2014 F-150s that we consider the nice ones. They're over 10 years old. They were also old police vehicles, which several of our fleets are secondhand. They were old police vehicles. So these have been used and abused rather hard. The 2 that we were looking to go ahead and surplus out to get new ones, we have a 2008 Chevy Sport Track. If you guys have seen it, it's the only gray vehicle we have. That was also a PD vehicle. Just this year alone, we put over a couple grand in it. We had to rebuild the front end. The mirrors are falling off, the door hinges were obsolete, so we found something to put on there. Things of that, so yeah, it's awesome. You had to get into it with a pair of pliers for a bit. So things of that sort, the 95 Chevy is actually, it does rather well. However, it's a 95 Chevy that we can't drive past Hotchkiss. We can't drive past Hotchkiss in any of our vehicles, actually. So even the 450 that is brand new has a front end shimmy. That we don't go past Hotchkiss.
Is the 94 the Chevy 1500?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, it just says 94. in the
Oh,
list. That's
sorry.
what-
Yeah, it's,
I
yeah.
pulled out our list because you.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
I
that-
wanted to talk about
So that's gonna be included in an appendice, or appendix for, the budget. So
Yeah.
all of our scoring, all that prioritization is gonna go into an appendix.
And we're not necessarily replacing vehicle for vehicle, so we would drop off those two and get two newer ones and all of them would kind of shift down. So those F-150s that I drive and Jordan drives will go to the crew. Kind of thing, so it's not necessarily like an F-150 for an F-150. We're not doing that, it's the older ones. But yeah, currently we don't have one that can go past Hotchkiss. I'm hoping the F-250 we just got back from Hellman. And now. So those are the types of things. Yeah, I saw that on the invoice, that they're called like Vista Toyota.
So the sign in the front.
So the
Yeah.
only thing that can go to all the past Hotchkiss is the,
They take the admin. Yeah,
Pretty much, yes.
they take the admin car,
We
to
take
go
the
run all
admin.
their samples, so.
Yeah, or we borrowed PD's F-150 when we had to go get like a pump or generator or things of that sort. We ended up borrowing theirs. Also, Stefan asked me to kind of describe if one of these vehicles do go down, which usually is one down a week. So it would be two down. We're doing things like meter reads in a dump truck. That's like, it's silly, right? So we're either severely overkill or severely underkill. Because just our fleet vehicles, so not used for a specific something like the 450 or the dump truck, is very lacking. So we got two F-150s that Jordan let me know too, that we've had several recalls on them. Even as second or third owner on them, the 4-wheel drive has been worked on several times, things of that sort that are what's being used, so. If anybody's got questions on it, there's so much I could tell you that I don't really know where to start almost, but those are the two we're looking to get rid of, to get some better actual fleet vehicle, ones we can drive, but not specialty, but just ones we can drive.
Yeah, and so one of the things that you'll see is that yard waste truck that was, I mean, I even think I prioritized that really low. I have it on there as like 27 or 28. But as this program gets going, we may say, hey, we don't need it, or, you know, it could be pushed out, or when we really do need it. That's why I've pushed out, because we really haven't gotten this yard waste program up and running yet. And to really understand what our needs are gonna be.
And if it's a vehicle versus a trailer, we
Right.
don't know that yet. But we've got two supervisors running in trucks that can't make it past Hotchkiss, and we both live in Hotchkiss. So, yeah, mine overheated last week. And I deleted it where it was for a bit, kind of thing. I'm sure you've all seen Jordan drive around with his toolbox flapping in the wind. He did fix it though. It is now latched together, but things of that sort.
I got a question on the GIS. You're got some equipment for next year, but we don't have anything down, and we're gonna do a major project. Are we gonna do it in-house, and that's why there's no cost?
Let me see, because there was one where it was meant to be like a third party doing GIS.
Right,
And I pushed that off because
that's for the mapping,
for mapping.
right?
But let's see.
And that's my question. We're gonna do the realignment. We're doing the water line. And that's desperate that we have accurate stuff.
So that's gonna be in the contract for the contractor to do.
Okay.
With an as-built set, and we're gonna ask for his like Trimble data, so
Right,
we can build a layer.
right,
But that's all part of that project.
right. Okay.
What they really want it for, there's two things. The one where it's a GIS mapping of all of our systems,
Right.
that's gonna be expensive,
It's very
and,
expensive.
right, I really wanna get us through most of our bigger, capital expenditures first, before we really start hammering that. The second one, to buy that Trimble or whatever it is, whatever we end up using, to do the mapping, it's like when we go and find a water, we have to do a water repair or, that they can go and go, this was where we did this repair. This is what we put in a specific section. And then we can keep going. It's for those kinds of things, or mapping new fire hydrants, all of that, so.
Good.
Or sewer lines, like you can show which ones you've had to do repairs on, where you found root problems, those cases.
It's a big thing that we need.
Was it in this one? I think I did.
Yeah, it's in the book. Is it number 42? Is that what you referred to, the mapping?
That's the.
Yeah.
As someone who served on the trash committee for some of the festivals, I was really surprised you don't have anything budgeted for trash cans in the park this year.
Oh, for next year.
Oh, let's see.
I was like, it is on their bench.
Yeah, it's on there. And I just like, do you think those things aren't gonna have, are still gonna have their bottoms after?
Oh, they don't.
Yeah.
We just keep using it. Anyway.
Yeah.
They're all rusted out. And they've been welded in concrete, they're 1,000 pounds. Yeah, they're rough.
Okay.
So my goal next year is, or our goal next year is really to just do the safety stuff at the park, like electrical, that kind of stuff. Ask for a GOCO grant, or I'm sorry, not GOCO, Colorado Grand grant to work on the bathrooms at Apple Valley. To make those so that they're year round. And then in 27 to start buying those things like new trash cans in pools, or not pools, town park, and do those kinds of things. We did look at, so with the one thing that we did budget for is a water bottle fill station, water fountain at the park.
And
And one in here,
Yeah.
replacing that one. The one that I found, and then over for 27, 28. Two additional ones that are meant to be 4-season and outdoor. The one that's budgeted for next year will go in the bathroom nook. It's still outdoor, but the reason it's cheaper is because it's not standalone, but it's meant to be mounted on the wall. And it will have a water bottle fill and all that, but it's still an outdoor one. The other two, the reason it's 8,000, trying to find them cheaper. I couldn't. These standalone that are 4-season, they don't even have, they're not even refrigerated. There's no filter on them. They're $7,200. And I thought, well, we'll budget for one at Town Park and maybe one at Apple Valley Park, 27, 28.
are the designs such that it's gonna not really allow people to fill up their RVs and stuff with them?
They kind of look like this.
Yeah.
And then it's got this alcove for a water bottle.
Okay.
And you can't connect a hose to it or anything.
And all the frost freeze, we have put locks on now.
Okay.
So, no. They don't.
I guess people would if they could,
They-
right?
And do their laundry and all sorts of.
Are there any more questions on kind of how this lays out?
I just wanted,
Focusing on the capital CIP.
so I just want to point out, so 38, number 38, 40 and 41 are the 3 vehicles that are gonna be for public works. And it says water, but I know it's coming out of.
Multiple ones, right?
Okay,
Yeah, I think we put that in there because one was to replace doors.
So I want you to understand, also, I know we have in the CIP $65,000 a year for patrol vehicles over 5 years. It's a lot, but what'll happen is on year 6, that first vehicle will get traded in and that outlay will be a lot less. So we're always on that cycle now where we get a trade-in value for a vehicle and, we get a new vehicle as we move on. It may not even be traded. We could do what Olathe did to us and what Grand Junction did to Olathe before we got them from Olathe. So where, they outlay 60 grand for a vehicle, they sell it for 45 and they go put 45,000 towards a new vehicle. And so we can start getting on that plan like the big guys. That's the goal anyway. No, I'm talking Grand Junction because we kept going down. So.
Question, does a police car have to be decommissioned before it's traded?
Yeah, so we typically pull, radios, lights all come out. We've been in the habit of able to point all equipment out so we can reuse it. If we can put a cage window back in or a plastic seat, then we will. Shop's been really good about repurposing some of that stuff. We're kind of getting to the point where,
Would that be in the budget somewhere? To have that?
yeah, the equipment is, yeah, we pull some of that out.
So, with the equipment, the reason that it's broken out separately from a patrol vehicle, apparently that's best practice. So I looked at like 16 CIPs for all sorts of communities in multiple states that won GFOA awards. And I looked at them to see how they did it. Every single one of them broke out the cost of the vehicle and then outfitting the vehicle. So I said, okay, if it's good for 16 other communities, I'm gonna do it here too. And so that's kind of why it's done that way. And I did want you guys to understand, since this is recorded, so that if somebody does have a question later on, like I'm like, why it's really important that we start looking at replacing our squad fleet. So I
Yeah,
asked
so
for him to.
We'll probably start with, the first vehicle will go, will more than likely be that Crown Victoria that's out there. That's a 2011 car. It's also rear wheel drive. So that car for 3 months out of the year is unusable for us. It can't be taken on call, and it can't take it home. The thing is, it doesn't have an in-car radio in it. So any officer in that car has to use their handheld radio to communicate out. But that will probably be the first one, and then the next car would be that non-conforming, that our last Chevy Equinox car we have. That car really at this point has become an officer safety issue. The driver's side window will roll up or down. It's intermittent, so you'll be driving and then it will come down, or it won't roll all the way back up. On top of that, we have the electrical issues in that car. That's kind of why we keep burning through alternators. It's not really designed to handle the electrical load we're putting on it. So when you park it, on a traffic crash, and you want to run those lights, it tends to, we inevitably fry something and blow a fuse. Then the lights aren't running, but you might be up the road on a traffic accident, not realizing your car parked on the road and the lights on. Or the camera will shut off. Those are kind of the issues we're running into with that car. On top of that, that car's not really designed for patrol duty. Again, we've talked about the seats at length. The cages, it doesn't have a rifle rack. So whatever officer is in that car, he has to leave his less lethal shotgun or his patrol shotgun or his patrol rifle at the department. Because per policy, we don't want firearms unsecured in the vehicle. If we're involved in an accident, we want to minimize all the equipment that we can from flying around in the cab of the vehicle. So most patrol cars will not only have that cage you see, but they'll also have a rear cage to keep all that equipment in the back of the car. That Equinox is not really designed that way. It's not really how it's set up at all. So those are kind of just a couple of the things, but yeah, the first one. The first will be that the Equinox is usable, although we have some officer safety issues with that car, but the Crown Victoria is not usable for us. Weather's bad, so we can't. If you can't get out of the parking lot, it's not usable at all.
I was wondering which one of the vehicles, what was purchased 2 years ago? Was it a hybrid?
Yeah, so the patrol truck was purchased,
Is that on here? This list, sorry.
not on that one. It is on the original list, showing, I think it's got 29 replacement schedule on it.
Yeah, because it was new. It was pretty new. Wasn't it 23?
It's a 2021 Ford, I believe. We bought that vehicle used.
Oh, that's the F-150 then. It is
Yes.
on here. I just couldn't remember what year it was. That's why I'm
Yeah,
asking.
that truck, we bought that truck. If you, for those of you who remember, we bought that vehicle, the intention was to buy a new F-150, but coming out of COVID, we couldn't find it, we couldn't get one, so we ended up purchasing a used vehicle.
Yeah.
And we kind of prioritized that hybrid powertrain for a couple of reasons, which have been really useful for us, but. Yeah, ideally, I think the fleet would transition to that, given the way we use those vehicles. If you use that truck around town, it runs on electric power the majority of the time. And even given the way we're using it for training and admin reasons.
Public works.
Yeah, public works, it works well. I think we're probably somewhere right around 15% of our total miles have been driven on electric power.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
And I thought it was newer than 21. That's why I asked.
It's a
It
21,
wasn't
and it's on the replacement schedule, but it's a.
Yeah, but not, yeah. Thank you.
The reason that we're doing this is, if you remember from my review, I said we gotta slow down. And so this is everything that that we collectively could think of to put down into a schedule for the next 5 years. There's so many more things that we could probably start adding, but at least now we're starting to say, okay, look, we can't just go for a grant to decide we want to do this. Let's make sure it's one, that aligns with our strategic plan, and two, is somewhere on our capital improvement plan. We tried to go for a FEMA brick grant, couldn't do it a couple of years ago for generators because the county hadn't finished their plan. It's finished, that project's on. What FEMA also wants to see is that it's also on our capital improvement plan somewhere, if we go for that grant. So it's trying to give us some direction, so I don't feel like I'm, running 3 sheets to the wind, going as fast as I can. It's meant to give us a little more of a better speed going forward. Okay, and then I think you probably have something on the general fund stuff.
Well, I'm still on this budget document.
Okay.
A couple of questions. On the second water utility page, it's 60, 50, 50, the CWR PDA principal, that really jumped from your draft from 215,000 to 615.
Yeah.
What's that about?
These are loans that we've been paying for years that just weren't booked in the right place.
Oh.
And so if you can't see it, let me see if I can zoom in. There are 3 different loans that come out of there. Okay, those 3 different loans. I know I'm gonna try to keep zooming in here. Okay. Those 3 different loans are right there. We have $176,000 that's due every year. Then the new loan that we're paying, the one that we've just taken out, is $263,564 every year. And then that last loan, I think we have another 8 or 9 years on that one, and it's $175,000. So combined, it makes $615,000. I just wanted it accurately stated.
Okay.
So that's why that jumped. And that's not all of our debt service. Our total debt service in water is $729,500. So those two, that's $72,500 and that's $42,000. That's principal and interest on a revenue refunding bond that we're still paying on, I think, for the next decade. So there's a lot of money that has been spent out of water, and there are projects that I don't know if they ever got done, but we certainly took the loan money on. That's just the reality. What I can tell you is the loan, as we're drawing down on it now, we are actually doing those projects. They are getting done. Well, maybe not for the rest of this week. But certainly next week, when the weather gets a little bit better, they're gonna be back out there trying to finish that tank. And if they're not, I think Nikki's ready to start throwing elements to get them done. But so that debt service, we can foreseeably see at least $270,000 for the next 30 years. The other two, we pay them out. One of them, I think, is in the next 6-7 years. The other one's like in the next 15 years. And then that last revenue refunding bond, that's decade.
That's the old sewer, the new sewer plant, and
Yes, and it's split between water and sewer.
right.
Because when you guys went to do it, you pledged both revenues for water and sewer.
Yes,
And so that's why it has to come out of water too.
that was my first vote on the council.
Wow.
Very first.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
So, but because of that, now when we go for loans, they require us to pledge both of our revenues for water and sewer from both utilities towards any loan we go for. That's why I'm really concerned about moving towards getting a loan for wastewater when things are working right now. And I know we have to do a pond relinings. I know we have to do that. But we also found that our partnership that we're developing with Delta Compost, they will take our sludge.
Yes.
Now, and they wanted it was like $30 a ton or something like that. That's insanely cheap. So I just, they want it. And I mean, there's good things that are coming out of this Delta Compost. They're really good people.
So they're gonna do the analysis of the waste.
Yeah, I was,
which is
that's.
And they'll do it for CDPHE.
Yeah, because I was just gonna ask that same
And they're
question.
still gonna be able to use it.
And I tell you what, when you're on it.
We don't have any heavy metal
Well-
contamination of, you know, the
And now I
pipes,
know why.
and we don't have PFAS.
The first thing she asked us, so the first thing that Delta Compost asked us in our meeting was, do you have any industrial pretreatment permits? We said, absolutely not. They love that.
Yeah.
So,
And that's something to pay attention to. No metal plating companies come in.
It's not prohibited in our code, so.
Well, just a fair warning.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
standing in the
so
county.
something have to be added to it for it's or anything.
we haven't gotten that far into, but I doubt it.
You haven't done a
Deep Water
slow.
this big thing.
That, my background, that's an Iowa thing. We used to get sludge out of the town, and that's how we have acidic soil, so we have to put, you know, and we're perfect.
From what I understand, she didn't want us to do any additive or anything. They were doing that all themselves when it got to their facility.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty cool people. They're pretty, just seem to, it's a good partnership to start building. So.
Just one last little thing, two pages back. The 70-51-32 groupings. I assure you, I did not check the math on all of these, but that first grouping, the total doesn't. The total.
The 32 through
Subgroup
54.
operating expenses, yeah, 70.
Oh, yeah.
70-51-32, the wastewater utility operating expenses, just the total is.
7132.
Is it cumulative from the previous page, Bill?
Oh, it is.
Okay.
Okay, but I see what it's done. So it's also adding fiscal year 26 into it. So let me fix it. Hang on. Let's see what that does.
Well, I think,
Okay,
because it does add if you go from
yeah.
14, yeah, okay.
I'm gonna do this. Yes.
But it certainly wouldn't be enough for too much for 32.
Sorry, I didn't get an error because of the,
I think you're probably right. It's,
well, no, because it was also added fiscal year 26, that header. So I'm surprised it didn't give me an error. That's why I'm,
Okay, sorry about that.
no, that's great. I'm gonna see what this does.
These two sections. So should add in the column.
I think it was adding 26 into it. That's
oh,
what I
you think 26 was added?
think it was more something. So let's take a look, see if it's still.
Huh.
Let's watch the Simpsons.
Something.
It's the same. So let me see. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. Sanitation, that's the fund that we always talk about as being the scariest fund, right? We are looking to pull 64,000 out of there to get trash cans. I think my quote's gonna come in a lot lower than what I thought, so I'm happy that that's in there a little bit more than what I'm anticipating. But the two trash cans that we're looking at is a 35-gallon can for those that are on single gallon or single cans, and then what they call a 95-gallon Ocean Core can. Ocean Core can is made out of, I think it was 15% ocean recycled plastic. So plastic they pulled out of the ocean that they're recycling to make those cans. The goal is that those people that aren't so honest, it's going to hold some accountability. right? So if you've got a single can and you've loaded your trash can up with bags, but you've got 6 bags outside of it, you're gonna be charged for those bags, right? Right now, we don't know, because we've got a sticker program, it's getting us through.
Better, yeah.
But it's not the same. Then the 95-gallon can will make for those 2 to 3, and anybody over 4 to 5, we'll have to talk about getting them 2 cans, and billing them, appropriately for it. So the goal is to get compliance and not rely anymore on somebody's good nature to say, I'm gonna be honest with my trash can. It's what fits. It's like what the post office used to say, if it fits, it ships, right? If it fits, we're gonna take it. If it's outside of your can, you should come in for an extra bag ticket, or, an extra bag charge, or a bulk trash charge. So,
And so we'll make it clear when the yard waste program begins that no yard waste goes into that can. We're
Correct.
gonna do the separate,
right,
and separate days for picking up too, probably.
That's
We gotta figure that out, but
we really want to have that conversation with Rodney,
yeah.
because he's taken that one, he knows it. He's been the route driver for years. But the good thing with this standardized can process, number one, it's on wheels. Number two, it has a lid that's attached to the can, keep water out. Number three, it should cut down on labor, because rather than going to like my house where there's 4 cans that have to be each individually dumped, they roll that can, it picks that can up, it dumps it. We still have to figure out how we're gonna keep the can back, the lid open, but at the end of the day, it should cut down on labor. It should cut down on the amount of weight going to the landfill. And when we couple that with our yard waste program, I think this fund, without making any additional changes, should start generating revenue again.
And the other thing is it's gonna it'll lower the back injury rate. That's the biggest thing with trash drivers. You're gonna get hurt eventually.
My scary thought is the other day, because we have people training too, like even our mechanic, there may be days where you're gonna throw trash.
Yep.
Right? So the scary thing to me is we had people right in the back of a trash truck going through town.
Okay.
That's terrifying to me. But they're good to go. So, and then eventually, maybe in 27, 28, we'll start looking at a program to buy like dumpsters. So rather than allow somebody to go get their own dumpster, these metal things that are probably, I think they're like 35, 40 years old. We'd be looking at the same company to provide a heavy duty recycled plastic dumpster that works with our trash truck. Where we know we can get standardized parts. If a caster breaks, we know that we can get them. And as things happen, everybody's gonna get a trash can, but if there's like a lot of neglect, something that's done, we can bill and say, here's the part and here's the charge. So it might be $14 for a new lid, here it is, right? This company also does a program that I'm looking at for these trash cans. They also do a program where they put an RFID in the lid. And they have a tracking program that can go onto the trash truck that identifies that trash can belongs to this household. And if it's got extra trash out, it registers that. So they have that program. We're not looking to invest in that program, but it is an option in the future. I'm sensitive to that because there are some folks that are worried about, they like to be private and they're worried about radio waves, things like that.
Well, on that program, can they also make sure that when you go by, and it registers, you dump that?
It's so cool. So it's so cool. It's a camera system. So it's like an LPR camera system.
Yeah.
And it registers the RFID, and if the can's not out, there's video evidence that it's not out. So it's a really cool program. But I'm not saying we're investing in that. We're just looking at standardizing trash cans.
Yeah.
So
We did have one too that
Yeah.
was live with the office, so if somebody comes in to pay for like a mattress, it just shoots straight to the computer or whatever, and then it's not like, hey,
That's what they had.
Buy a sticker and try to keep it on a mattress.
Y'all were nerds. I just
Yeah.
got some level of excitement over this. Is impressive.
I demoed this, incredible, like, they're like, and then they also, so they can outfit just about any trash truck with it. And then law enforcement likes it as well because these trucks are going, they're like an LPR, license plate reading camera. It goes down an alley, and if there's like a stolen car, an abandoned car, something like that, it picks them up. But we are not looking at, we are just standardizing baby steps. Standardizing trash.
I threw trash for 2 years and boy, this is great.
Yeah.
This is wonderful.
So the company is Railway Pacific. They're based out of California, but they've got their closest hub to us is in Nebraska. And they'll send us like they're excellent. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Right now, if somebody is putting trash outside of their, is the driver make a note of your address or
It's
anything?
sporadic.
So what they're doing now, I guess, because we have the 1 can sticker program, if it's outside there, they're not picking it up. Just it all, and they document it and then send it to Pannonia at townofpannonia.com.
Because I've noticed a few addresses that are consistently having.
In our neighborhood?
And one of the other things is, why are we charging less for the next can? It costs us the same. Or we could lower the base rate for that. And every other can is a little more expensive because it costs us more. It costs us more labor, time. And that's what it should be. Pay your rate way.
And we'll have to say, even if it's 1 extra bag on the side, they get charged an extra can.
Right.
So, and people. They,
I mean, I haven't heard too much griping about it, but the gripe is, oh, they missed me, but they weren't out in time.
they were not.
So,
That's
there's a lot of that.
That's what we're hearing a lot of. I mean, I'm even one of those guys that I had that stupid freezer that tweaked my back. The box was so big, I came in and paid my $20, put the sticker on there so that they would take it. That's not happening everywhere. Just so everybody knows, like there are times where they'll line their entire back fence with cans and expect somebody, or it's yard waste. They'll line the entire back fence with yard waste and expect to take
Or cardboard,
A lot of cardboard. I've seen
lots of
a
cardboard.
lot of it, and it tends to be the places that have the mother-in-law apartment in the garage. And there's 7, 10 cans in the alley. And this is a deal.
So I've overheard Rodney a couple times too, just be like, if there is a pink sticker, take that can. And that's it.
So
Perfect.
That's what we're.
one of the last things in sanitation, 80-40 or 80-52-42 is landfill fees. I've bumped that up, like we're gonna see another increase
Yes.
going into next year. 45 or 41,500 looks like what it's gonna be by the end of this year. Right around there, so I bumped it up like we're gonna see another few bucks a ton come in. That amount there is based on that $15 extra a ton, so.
It may happen more.
So for the yard waste thing, I'm wondering if there's a need to think about some kind of ordinance around that, related to that, because problems are gonna be, people are gonna mix other things in yard waste. And Delta is not gonna want that, and people are gonna put yard waste in with their trash, which is not what we want. So I don't know if there's some way to do a warning and minor fines or something like that. Not that you're gonna be investigating, but when it's obvious.
So, yeah, we changed, were you on when we changed the ordinance? So we recently changed the ordinance to allow for those kinds of things, broke things up. What we did allow for is we can change the rules by resolution. That's something you'll see coming in the first of the year, how we'll really roll this yard waste program out. There'll be I'll present you guys with a resolution for rules, and then we'll go from there. So
This Delta are they interested in household compost?
Delta Compost?
Yeah.
Yes, so that's another program that they wanted to offer. So they are looking at a state grant to bring a table scraps composting program. It'll be a subscription program where you take your table scraps and there'll be a central bin. And you get a code, it opens up, you dump your food waste in there. then they also, and I said, well, we'd love to pilot that with you. And then they also are doing, as part of that program for restaurants as well, to say, hey, here's a bin, we'd like your food waste. So it's a good partnership that we're really working.
When I was in Portland, that we were able to mix the yard waste with our table scraps, all in the same bin, but that's not.
They don't want that, yeah, they just want things separated, so.
That'd be great.
And we could probably start treating it too, just like we do the trash when they put illegal things in the trash.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So, and to get there, it's just before you go to landfill, along the same road.
Yeah.
It's on the left. I could go in and look at it. I take yard waste there.
But the best is, we won't have to.
Right, that's what I mean. I'm just saying, if
So-
you're down there, it's a big day, go check it out.
And then the last one is Mike's favorite, Trustee Heck's favorite, it's the airport. So we haven't seen a bill yet. They have started doing engineering and design for, yes. I got hit with fraud a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was happening, and it's not, so. I have a lot of money with. Okay, they've started designing it, but we haven't seen a bill yet, and, we know what that cost is gonna be. Or, we had an original estimate, we don't know what the final cost is gonna be. But I budgeted like, we're gonna spend out everything we have in our restricted fund for the airport, next year. And then for runway improvements down the road that are hundreds of thousands of dollars, I don't know how we're gonna pay it. I really wanna see an economic benefit with the North Fork Valley Airport, but I'm struggling to see where we've got one. It might be in the future when, vertical takeoff and landing aircraft become more popularized. We might see it, but we can't even get FAA grant funding because one of the newest hangars that was constructed there was built too close to the runway. And because of that, FAA won't give us grants. Now, these are buildings that look like you could almost, because of the way the ribs are, the steel cage, it almost looks like you can shear it off and move the door. The last time I was there, but when I talked to people about that, they weren't interested. I'd be interested because I want to be able to get federal grants, but.
Is it privately owned?
They are.
Not leasing it from the county.
They're not. So they're leasing the space, but the hangar belongs to the people that
Built.
built it.
One of the things is that perhaps fees will have to go up.
And we can't control that, right? That's the county that controls those fees. And
they pay 25%, I understand that. And if they will not deal with this, we always have the option of saying, well, folks, it's yours. We give up.
it could become a private airstrip.
Yeah. Or we give it to Delta County and they close it. That's probably.
Because that's exactly what they would do, because Delta County, I know Delta County struggles with it, so.
Yeah.
It's got the best view in the valley.
It's
If there's a way to monetize that view, it's a beautiful view.
Public workshop. Let's do that.
Light off the edge.
Yeah.
So,
The chief fix is just take it back to where it was without the extension. They just really screwed that up. and put it in.
yeah,
That would be the chief fix. Just go back, single old props, struggling owners of airplanes.
yeah. Struggling owners of their places. There are a few large ranchers that use it, their private aircraft flies in, and they do collect some fees from that. Because we're talking very large ranches.
It's one of the reasons that large ranch just sold us in Ponchatoula.
There's an airstrip where they can.
We don't charge.
That airport's.
There's no charge.
We don't, the county does.
They charge
It does, it's a minor, it's very, very little.
And we don't collect that revenue.
No.
If I keep pushing SBA to find somebody to lease tower space at that cell tower, because that'd be more revenue coming in. Every time I talk with them, every time they come for that tower, I go, have you talked to any of your people about putting something on this cell tower? The last time I talked to Susan, it sounded like, well, you were on the phone with me, that she was gonna start pushing it, so.
That would open up coverage in that south of the airport, there's a big dead spot in there.
It would also hit the tower better that's going up in Pitkin.
Yes. That would.
Oh, is it going?
Line of sight.
It's going.
It's passed. Yeah. Are there any further questions? So, the agenda packet for Tuesday is gonna take me some time to finalize, because I do have to put these worksheets in. I have to finalize our final budget. And I need to get up to Grand Junction today, so it might be Saturday night, it might be Sunday afternoon, but it will get to you before, the meeting. So just so you all are aware of that, but this is essentially what you've seen here. It isn't gonna change except for that admin line item where I added $3,000 for furniture, because we've got another employee coming for
So
some.
it's basically all of it.
Correct.
I have one question. Do you really want to wait till 28 to change out the pull down stairs? I think that's where it's listed. I just didn't
That's a
know.
source of recommendation, we're making do with it. The issue with that item is I have. No one can get cost pays.
Right.
We really don't know.
Would it help with it also with our Sursa premium?
So can I bring that up? Yeah, so you'll notice that you're like, why are they so expensive? Well, in 23, they went, Sursa to insure them was about $28,000. There was a ruling on the Front Range, a judgment that had happened that caused liability insurance for police officers to go way up. And because of that, in 24, we saw an increase, 25, we saw an increase, and we're expecting it to be just under $62,000. So in 3 years, we've gone from 28 to 62. It's not expecting. That's our renewal rate for the PD is $61,500 just in liability insurance. That's the cost of having law enforcement, but it's also why we officers continue to do training every year. They go through a training regimen. They have to continue to do qualifications for firearms, driving and things like that. And it's meant to help us reduce that or mitigate our liability insurance. When I was at a conference with Sursa, they were explaining why it's so expensive. It was 100% had to do with the ruling, the judgment down in the Front Range, where an officer doing their duty, something happened, and that guy was able to sue the department, and they let it go through appeals and everything, and it stuck. Because of that, and some legislation that happened downstate, the liability insurance has gone up. It's gotten so bad that there are no underwriters in the United States or Canada that will insure Sursa for their law enforcement liability. They are now going to London, United Kingdom. That's the underwriter for liability for police.
Wonder if Nick gets to go on a picture. Anyway.
I think it's Sam.
Go there. Quick question for the agenda packet on Tuesday. Do you need to do a budget to actual?
It's already done.
Yeah, okay, I was trying to look for things for you to take you off your plate.
Yeah, the one thing that needs to be updated, I'll probably have Ashley work on that. Since I updated it, Michelle has gone in and booked some more things to revenues. So that's gonna show, I might have Ashley finalize it. I did find one of the discrepancies that was causing that variance to go really high. It was because I had double booked things in the street capital improvement plan. It was related to the bridge reserve. So when I found that, it backed it down. We're no longer looking like we have a negative variance, we have a positive variance, which means we have more money in the bank than what we have, what we're showing as fund balance. That's a good problem to have, but I still need to find that, fine tune that as we go. I think when that revenue gets booked, or got booked by Michelle into our general ledger, it's gonna bring that variance down because we'll show more in our book of record. But the GL, and it'll move better with what's in our bank accounts. So,
I just want to say thanks. This was really well put together and I appreciate all that extra effort.
And it really, and it really pulled together the confusion
Yeah.
from whatever the day, night you were gonna do our spreadsheet.
right, so maybe I should have started with what it's gonna end with, so you guys could understand what that sausage making looks like. But I got your priority sheets. I put yours in a digital file.
Yeah,
I did.
That really helped, and then to see what the department heads need, because, you know.
I sent pictures of.
I made Nikki go take pictures of the fleet. I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna go through. I need you to take pictures. So I had her, so since she did the work, I'll show you the pictures of that she's, oh my God, you sent a bunch of pictures.
Well, we also did the sand truck because it plows and they were in the shop, so. Easy to take pictures. Just so you guys kind of know, this is the state of our entire fleet. So we're just trying to get the worst two out. This is the parks truck, that sport track that I said we had to get in with like pliers and stuff. I don't know if you can just scroll through, there's quite a few.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Let me, how do I do this? So it's just my entire screen. So you get to see my entire screen. Okay.
It is trying to
Beat the hell.
Yeah. I mean, I get in it and I just feel like I'm in a clown car. It's just made of plastic. It's.
This was my fourth vehicle ever, was a Ford Explorer Sport Track.
And there for a while, you could only open that door and had to reach around to open the driver's door. That was just for the VIN number, so I had the VIN number out. I tried to get a good value of some of these, and even Kelly Blue Book's like, no, there is no information on this.
Did you drive it through the mud so it looks worse? So
Oh,
that's where you took the picture.
I know, well, it is a bit muddy outside.
Oh, is this our
This
sander?
is the sand truck, so this, we have actually mounted this directly to the frame has been rebuilt. Because it,
What does it say?
it's permanently in four-wheel drive.
What's that say?
Or does not
Full-time
disengage.
four-wheel dirt
Oh,
car
yeah.
does not disengage. That's not.
So those kinds of things. This truck also didn't have a floorboard until about a week ago. They had just put a mat down,
Ew.
and I was like, yeah.
I could go to the, like the Flintstones.
Well, yeah, we found it out this year. And because it's so cold, and the defrost didn't work in it for a while, so that's also, I mean, things of that sort. This is a 95 plow or sand truck, so this is the only, we can take that bed off and put it on the 450 if we need to. So we have a backup, but that's about what we're dealing with. It still has a leak that we're trying to figure out.
So is that one you want to get rid of?
This, well, I think that was on for 27 or 28.
And what you can do with this is you can get something that's multi-use, you just have to find a way to take that sander off. Put it
Right,
back in.
and then we need to build like something to hold it up as we drive in and out, but yeah, all of those things, which is what should have been done. And that's why it sat on there and brought it up, but
Do you have enough headroom to do that in the shop?
in the shop, probably not, but in the three-sided or outside,
Three-sided one, yeah.
we could probably figure out something. So that's just the sand truck. This is the other plow, so that was a picture because we can no longer use, or no longer, we shouldn't have ever been using this truck as a plow. The clearance is too low.
Yeah, it is. Look at that, look at the joint, it's way
So
down.
that's why it's now sitting in the shop instead of out in the snow. This is also one that sat out of the lagoon. We put quite a bit of money into it this year to get it running, just to realize that the plow's too. It's probably what I was.
What about air shocks in the front?
We did just replace the backs.
Yeah.
That's a
the
lot of
front-
walls dragging on that seat to rip it up.
So, yeah, how much money are you gonna throw into it?
I know,
That's
it's-
that's another thing that we're going for as well.
Was this an old PD truck?
I have no idea. This used to
Because
have the
PD
mag
typically does that with the seats, they tend to rip the jeeps out and get them out.
This was our sprayer truck for a while, and then I saw the plow on it. This is the little, no, this is the dump truck that I was kind of telling you about that we've done meter reads in. The issue with this is it's only a 1 ton. You can't carry much on it.
No.
So it's either severely overkill, very underkill. Like you can't haul much, but you don't use it for daily driver. The meters are too small. It also has some kind of ignition problem. So that was just because it was sitting there. I think it's on the list for 27 or 28 in recent or in the next 5 years.
Oh, no, that's your ADP, sorry.
Okay,
Okay, that was it, that was it for your, sorry.
The little Chevy, I think, is the last.
No, that was it. Chevy plow, sander and trucks. The Chevy that you're gonna put on the auction. and we'll
Yeah,
get on it.
the little Chevy should be on there.
I don't have it.
I didn't forward it on that.
My search for potentially for last year too. 6 months worth with the dogs.
Oh,
But we don't know yet.
yeah,
And also that Chevy plow that's too
Okay.
low.
for, like, he's been working on something, so.
Oh, Ken, oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
Dealing with the dogs.
I'm working on, I don't have
An agreement.
yeah, I don't have anything in place yet, but.
Any forward momentum in that regard is exciting.
Yeah, with 3 acres outside of town, I'd build one. Or I can't afford $150,000 for land.
I think it will be a cost sharing thing between multiple agencies in the county to use the facility in Delta, but I'm just waiting on some numbers still.
I understand, project that the 2 million gallon tank is just postponed for the weather right now, but it'd been, how far did they get before they had to? I mean, were they working on the inside of the tank?
Yeah, they're getting really close to being done, actually. They had a few hiccups like with the welders and stuff, had to switch contractors. They're struggling with equipment like the heater going down, things of that sort. But yeah, it's mainly for the weather right now. Just it's too wet, but they should be up there. There's a semi that might be stuck again. Just got-
They did have, what was it, a snorkel boom, the lift,
No, they have scissors, the scissors, they weren't.
it was a telehandler.
Oh, the telehandler, and
So they had a telehandler that slid down the hill into a truck that put
They
it
still
to
was
a
there
truck.
driving.
So they've been having a rough go.
Oh, my.
Yeah,
We got it on Bacano.
we do.
Yeah, we do.
It-
don't watch
it's report though. Everyone's like.
Okay, I'll say. Sorry.
Go take your thunder.
Yeah.
So,
Well, anything on that hillside, that's nothing but Adobe clay snot. It's terrible.
Plow the snow, the plow. Piece of equipment, whatever you got up there.
and then thank you guys for accommodating the budget amendment on the 30th. Sorry that it, we couldn't get it all on the 9th. But we definitely need to do it. There's a couple of things. One, we received in more revenue. Two, I have to back down the budget because we didn't spend for 50 grand. So I've got to reduce it by $3 million. That was a recommendation from our auditor for best practices. So it's going to be kind of those things. I am still going to try to buy laptops by the end of this year for the PD and Public Works. Using that $80,000 that we took in from surplus. So you'll see those kinds of things in that budget amendment. The one that's gonna have to go up and spend a little more out of is the street CIP because of Stewart Ditch and emergency repairs. So you'll see that one as well. I've already accounted for those in this final budget that you guys already saw. It's in your packets. For that fund balance in anticipation that we're gonna do this budget amendment. So it's coming.
When we were talking today, yesterday, one of the things you mentioned was that, with some of the CIP fund balances, we're eating into them, but that's a good thing. But there are some, and I don't know, that sort of admin area or wherever, where we are actually spending down some balances there, that's not a good thing in the long run. I just want to just explain.
Yeah, so that's in the-
something to.
Yeah, in the general fund revenue, so in general fund, that's the personnel and operating. We are spending down in that fund balance, which we have to do. I mean, it's gotta come down to a different level. However, we should not, we should be balancing, right? the revenues coming in should be enough to cover our personnel expenses and our operating expenses. Right now, they're covering our personnel expenses and portions of our operating expenses. So with that being said, we have to do something to generate more revenue. One of the things that is good, that helps, is that, now in 26, we have that marijuana revenue coming in, but even that's not sustainable. What we need to look at is things like those people that are on the fringes of town, that are receiving all of the services, but paying nothing for those services, aside from water and sewer. We really need to look at bringing them into the fold. That's right, the bad A word, the annexation word. We also need to look at possibly looking at our millage rate and increasing that for property taxes. One of our bad things that we've been bad about is that over multiple actually decades, we haven't enforced building permits. There are things that have been being built. So the builder that came to my house to put the cage on the front, the wonderful thing that helps my son from running in the street. That needed a building permit. Well, he has been doing business here for 15 years. He said, I've never needed a building permit in Paonia. And he argued with me until I said, you will get a building permit in Paonia, or you won't do business in Paonia. You'll get a fine. And he goes, well, who are you? So I had explained who I was, and that's, I'm the one that gets the building permit. So he realizes that, but that's a common theme I'm hearing. And the reason it matters is because I think our combined assessed value is really understated. Because what it does is every time you get a building permit, there's a value associated with that we then report to the county assessor's office so that they know that the value of that property has been increased. It's no different than what we do with our fixed assets. If at the water plant, it might be depreciating, but every time that we add something to it, we're adding value to it. And so then that value gets added back to that asset. That's the same thing that we're doing with the homes in town that we haven't been enforcing.
For instance,
I'm not telling
we
you.
built an entire building on our property, a garage, studio, greenhouse. We had to get new home insurance this year. That building was not on the rolls at Delta County.
It's a common thing.
I was horrified. It meant the permit that we pulled and got our COA was not sent to the county. How many of those?
Hundreds.
I mean, and so we got it put on there, and yeah, they raised their rate, but they should, so that's a big one.
So the house that I purchased was remodeled in 21 or 22. The last building permit that we have anywhere for that home, and the last time the assessor's office had done anything before they came out, they hammered me, was 1997, and it was for windows. And the windows have been replaced twice since then. And then the building permit that was for it before was 1978. So, that's kind of the things that we really need to enforce. So, yeah.
I got a question on building permits, like a house that burns down, do you need a fire or a permit to fix that?
You'll need a demo permit to do because I'm sure there's gonna be some demo in there.
Insurance well.
Yeah, because I know what's going on with your neighbor. Yes, the answer is yes, they'll need to come in and see us, because when they demo it, we have to send a building inspector in to make sure it's safe for them to be able to rebuild on the site.
It's gonna have to be the insurance, she's in a hospital.
Yeah. And that's fine, we'll work with whoever as long as, they do come in for those permits.
So I think the word is we should be snitching on our neighbors.
The better thing to do would be to tell your neighbor, hey, you need a building permit for that.
That feels good for neighborly relations.
Yeah, but you can, just know that if you do turn it in.
Yeah.
It's not anonymous. It could, because it's not, we can't be.
Then who turned it in?
Who turned you in?
When I got my house stuccoed, and I think there was a change and.
I think it was me. It's a completely new system. I think that might have been me.
Thank you.
It was already done.
That's why the enforcement officer was such a big deal. And why I kind of harped on it for a year before we finally got it done. And that's what, it's gonna work this way.
Yeah.
It'll help.
Code enforcement person.
Code enforcement's gonna.
It will, and so, yes, it's gonna be a heavy lift at first, and it's gonna be real, I mean, we're probably gonna have people beating down our door. But once that enforcement starts and people realize that they have to, I think part of it is education, people don't know.
People have got way.
They've gotten away with it.
Some of it is that, but I think there's others that just don't know that they need building permits for certain
It was the
things.
culture that was created.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so
another-
educating, I think we're gonna see more compliance.
Another thing is a business license. That way we have some control of who's doing work.
Yeah, that's the next thing.
God bless you. All right.
Only gonna 13 more meetings.
Oh, we're gonna add more. Kidding.
Trustee emeritus filter.
Yeah. You're gonna get right in.
I can't, I'm no longer legal after this.
You do have to, if you're ready, you have to adjourn the workshop.
Oh, I will adjourn this workshop. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.